Hello fellow attorneys, welcome to another video in my channel. So Signifer of the Night event is coming soon and hence I decided to make a video on it. The gameplay for this event this time is very simple, it's just us doing limited time quests and that's it, yeah. So it's very simple, right? Therefore I decided to put more focus on the card this time and help you all to decide if you should draw for the banner or not. So the banner this time is an event exclusive banner, 2 SSR plus 2 SR. The PT is at 100 draw and it uses normal tiers. And one thing to note is that all of these cards are not limited. Therefore, they will enter the rotation banner afterwards. Therefore, I actually do not recommend free-to-play players to draw for the cards because limited banners like Lost Gold and birthday cards are actually more worth it. But if you still cannot decide whether if you want to draw or not, I will now be going through the cards in terms of their power, skills and storyline to help you all decide if you like the card or not. So now I will first be talking about the power and the skills. Firstly, the Vyn SSR card. You can see the first skill is a Preemptive Strike, therefore it's a DPS card. And the second skill actually boosts the influence of this card, therefore it will be a very useful DPS card. I will say that this is definitely worth drawing for if you lack DPS card as this game is very focused in damage, yeah. So the second is Marius SSR card. You can see that this is a buff card as the first skill is layer by layer which will boost influence for all elements for one turn only, which is why it's very useful. And it's a very good buff card because you can see the third skill also boosts the influence for all Marius card. It's definitely very useful if you have a lot of Marius card. Next is Artem SR card. Now this card is not as useful. It can still increase our power because it reduces the opponent's defense. This is quite a rare skill to be honest. And therefore it's also a buff card, and the third skill is useful as well as it will boost the influence of all logic card. Lastly, look at SAR. This is also a buff card, yeah, buff card again. It's a layer by layer, therefore it will boost the influence for 2 turns. It's not that good but it's not that bad also, and it will boost this card based influence. This actually doesn't really go well with buff card, but I say that it does boost influence, so it's not that bad. So out of the 4 cards, I would think that Vyn SSR is the best one, followed by Marius SSR, then Artem, and then Luke is the last. Yep. And now I'll be talking about the storyline of the cards to help you all decide if you like the storyline of the cards. So firstly, Vyn SSR. In this story, we can first see Vyn getting jealous as usual. So there was this man who was trying to hit on us before Vyn appeared, and Vyn decided to pretend to be our boyfriend to chase this guy away. Oh my god, this is so cute. And okay, so moving on to the main story. The main story starts with us wanting to search for information on magic, which Vyn wanted to help us but was rejected by us because we don't want to bother him. Therefore, Vyn confessed his thought on him wanting to be perfect in front of us and want us to rely on him more. This part is super cute also. And so we accept Vyn's help and allowed Vyn to teach us about magic. So this is the part when Vyn is teaching us about magic, but to be more precise is Tong Ling Su, which is Side Gate. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And this part is very Junibyo. This is super cute. I cannot imagine Vyn doing this to be honest, but yeah. And the bulk of the story is actually about us comforting an old lady who got deceived, and the imposter was cheating on the old lady by pretending to be her dead daughter, and it took a great troll on the old lady when he was exposed. This is a very sad story, but yeah. This card is very useful in showing Vyn's growth, and his attitude changes from wanting to be perfect in front of us and hiding his weakness. If you all remember the water pipe card, when to now he purposely showing his weakness to comfort us. And this card also has a mention of him asking us if we will go against the world and stand by his side. I don't know if you all remember this, but he mentioned at the start of the game was, will you stand by your choice? So I'm thinking that this sentence of going against the world and stand by his side could be some kind of hint regarding on Vyn's future story. So next, Marius SSR. This story is about us attending an auction that Marius invited us to. The story starts with Marius' assistant Vincent who bring us to the mall as Marius had to attend to the auction to entertain the VIPs. I would say that Vincent was a very great love assist in this card by the way. He introduced us to Marius' familiar crease, which I always thought was a snake but actually it's Jiao. Okay, Jiao is a form of dragon in the Chinese mythology, or maybe you can't actually call it a dragon yet since it's kind of like a former form of the dragon, you have something like the relation between caterpillars and butterfly, where Jiao is like the caterpillar and he will turn into the butterfly, which is the dragon afterward. So the crease actually symbolize 前交破云, which represents how their family will ultimately be able to break through and soar in the sky. And this explanation was actually arranged by Marius for him to explain it to us. Okay, the underlying meaning of this. So there's this particular scene that I really like in this card was also when we reached the auction house and Marius decided to wink to us as a reply to us calling out to him. And this is like the simple only two of us know in the crowd. And then he excused himself and explained that he had to attend to an important person, okay? And another thing that is also very cute is that during the auction there was an incident that happened and Marius got hurt. So this thing is where we treat his wood and he's like mourning and screaming and flirting with us as we treat his wood. Yeah, this is so cute also. This story also displays things that Marius has to face as a family head, in which he has to interact with people who talk to him with hidden intention, which really made my heart ache for him. And this card would therefore allows us to learn more about him and not only why he likes to stay with us so badly. This is because to him, we are the only one who doesn't approach him with any hidden agenda, and therefore his confession. Okay, to avoid spoiling the story too much, I'm stopping here. This is already longer than I thought, and it's just the first two parts of Marius' story. Anyway, I really recommend Marius Stand to read this story even if you don't get the card, because it's very helpful in understanding Marius a lot. And last but not least, Rosa's dress is so pretty. Now, moving on to Look SR. I really like this card. And for this card, I feel like there's not much that I need to explain about the story. I mean, just looking at the card visually, it's already a must-draw card for Luke Sen. Just by looking at the card visually, you know, Luke getting blindfold and us feeding him sweets, his soft lips touching our fingers, and the involved version where he lifts our veil and say, "I found you, my bride. I don't care. I'm announcing that this is basically the wedding ceremony between me and Luke." Okay, by the way, the Chinese name of this card, 意中人, 意 can also means 意, which means favorite, as they have the same sound, and therefore 意中人, it can also be read as 意中人, the person in his heart. So moving on to the story, we went to a tactic experience center. It's basically a place where they investigate and play to see if we are well coordinated or know each other well. And Luke book a couple step, by the way. So being childhood friends, the test was simple as we know each other for years. However, this story also focused on the 8 years that we experienced without each other, such as how we went to the amusing park alone and how Luke, the one who liked to sleep talk a lot, also learned how to stop doing it. So this story really made a good point in portraying the 8 years we experienced without each other, as it really changes the people a lot and how that we are coping without Luke. And last but not least, the scene that I really like is the picking your bride scene, where Luke had to pick us out of 5 different brides, and despite of us being hidden under thick vein, he was able to pick us out of the bride so easily without any hesitation. I think Luke is really someone I will never meet in real life. This is so sad. So last but not least, we have Artem SR. So the story starts with Artem and us visiting another company for work purpose. Artem later on suggests that we should go out and take a break after seeing how stressed we are. This is so sweet of him. So we end up in the theme park with Artem. Even though he seemed quite distracted, I'm pretty sure it was because he's still thinking about the work or something, yeah. But he still paid attention to us as we talked about some events that we wanted to attend. We ordinarily actually doesn't want to bother him since he seems so uninterested. But later on, he was the one who suggests that we can go if we want. I think that he actually doesn't really want to participate, but because we seems like we want to, he ended up going with us. And later on, he made dinner for us with pumpkins. Finally, something that represents Halloween. I think that this is very sweet because he tried to make it similar to a dish that our parents used to eat with us when we are young during Halloween, and he keep worrying if we like it or not, which is very cute. This story actually tells quite a bit about our family situation and how our parents are always busy for us and how we miss spending time with them. And I think that Artem was trying to comfort us and try to tell us that he's still here to celebrate Halloween with us even when our parents are too busy too. In general, this story shows the sweet side of Artem and how he tried his best to take care of us. I have also noticed the game portrayed him in a more distant and afraid type of person, but this story shows the flip side of it, which is very good. Even though sometimes it might seem very subtle, but he tried his best to care for us in his own way. Okay, so that's a summary of the 4 different cards storyline. I hope that was helpful in helping you to decide which card you all want to draw for, or whether you should actually even draw for this banner. And also, that's the end of my video. I hope that this was helpful and entertaining. Thank you for watching until now.